I have never seen in my roughly 17 years with the United States government a Justice Department that operates in this way. Normally, the attorney general and his or her deputies and assistant attorney generals, they try and thread a needle between representing the interests of the department and the United States on the one hand, and the president's interests on the other. But this group, Bondi, Blanche, previously Emile Beauvais, the top individuals at the FBI, they have thrown out the window any pretense that they are working on behalf of the country. They are solely functioning as President Trump's personal lawyers and personal investigators. You mentioned the word chaos, and I was acting special agent in charge of my field office at the time of the inauguration, and what I saw was not chaos. It was a very well orchestrated plan to defang the FBI and DOJ. It was chaos to those of us who were career employees because we were being thrown out with alacrity and little cause. But from the point of view of the Trump administration, from the point of view of people like the authors of Project 2025, this is all going according to plan.
Even if you've been following politics closely, this will shock you. The Attorney General of New York, Letitia James, is facing criminal charges over a mortgage that allegedly saved her less than $600 a year. That's right, $600. And she could face decades in prison. James isn't just any politician. She's known for taking on some of the most powerful figures in the country, exposing financial misconduct and holding Wall Street accountable and even presidents accountable. She led civil investigations into Donald Trump's real estate empire, showing how he inflated property values to secure better loans and insurance. Now, the very same system she spent years protecting is being weaponized against her. Prosecutors claim that in 2020, James listed a Norfolk, Virginia home as a second residence on her mortgage, but allegedly rented it out, saving a small amount on interest. Experts are stunned. One former federal prosecutor said it bluntly, "Poopus." We love a Yiddish word. Are you really going to believe that the Attorney General of New York would commit this willfulness over $600 a year? Even before the indictment, career prosecutors in the Eastern District of Virginia reviewed the case and concluded that there was no probable cause. But Lindsay Halligan, a Trump-appointed interim U.S. attorney, pushed it to the grand jury anyway, reportedly catching Justice Department officials off guard. Proving intent in this case, it is nearly impossible. Former U.S. Attorney Barbara McQuaid explained that prosecutors would have to prove James knowingly misrepresented her intentions at the time of signing, something that's almost impossible to do. Law professor Adam Levitin noted that second home rider didn't prohibit renting outright, only transferring control to somebody else, and included exceptions for extenuating circumstances like COVID-19 and pandemics. Federal prosecutors have never pursued a case like this before. The timing makes it even more shocking. James had just held Trump accountable in civil court. Almost immediately, then Trump publicly called for her prosecution, labeling her a wacky crook and urging Attorney General Pam Bondi to act. Observers say this is a classic political revenge weaponized through none other than the DOJ. Even longtime government insiders are speaking out. Michael Feinberg, a former federal official with 17 years in national security and legal oversight, said, "I have never seen in my roughly 17 years with the U.S. government a Justice Department that operates this way. They are not working on behalf of the country. They are solely functioning as President Trump's personal lawyers and personal investigators." And then came the extraordinary moment, a voice you wouldn't expect from Trump's own camp. Cut to the clip.
We know why this was done. It was done because Donald Trump told the Justice Department to prosecute Letitia James. And when the professionals there wouldn't do it, he put somebody in who would just follow his instruction, whose previous job was reviewing exhibits at the Smithsonian. So that's what we see going on here. And here's the difference between Trump 2 and Trump 1. And I'll say it more directly than Sarah did. This is no longer, the Department of Justice is no longer the premier prosecuting office in America. What it is now is a capo regime who goes out and executes hits when directed by the Don to do so. That's what it is.
Even Chris Christie is saying this is messed up. Somebody I personally despise and a longtime Trump ally, Chris Christie, sees the injustice here. When somebody inside Trump's little circle calls it out, it proves that the system is being pushed way beyond its limits. James is scheduled to appear in court on October 24th. Her attorneys are preparing motions to challenge the indictment, highlighting tiny alleged financial benefit, the refusal of career prosecutors to pursue charges, and the president's public calls for her prosecution. This was never about a mortgage. The Justice Department has gotten way too comfortable being turned into a political weapon that Trump can use on his ops. And the message it sends to anyone who dares to hold power accountable, it's that you can be targeted with a federal case. So if you've enjoyed this video or if it's expanded your perspective, subscribe to this channel. I am Lauren P. My original channel, The Lauren Preacher Show, is occupied. I no longer have access to that channel. And we'll be back with more. I agree with Trump. That photo is the most foul thing I've ever seen. And somehow it's real. It's not edited. It's not filtered. It's just him. Trump said Time gave him the worst picture of all time, claiming they vanished his hair and added floating objects to his head. No, sir, that's called physics and biology. That's gravity meeting poor life choices that you've made. Here's the thing about decades of lying, cheating, and general cruelty. It doesn't just ruin your soul. Science says it ruins your face. Chronic stress breaks down collagen. Narcissism gives you permanent scowl lines. Your body starts reporting your crimes in high definition. And I'm going to pause for a second and read his tweet that he said about himself because it's worth a little table read as we do. Time magazine wrote a relatively good story about me. Let me do it in my Trump voice. Time magazine wrote a relatively good story about me, but the picture may be the worst of all time. They disappeared my hair and they had something floating on top of my head that looked like a floating crown, but an extremely small one. Really weird. I never liked taking pictures from underneath angles. But this is a super bad picture, and that deserves to be called out. What are they doing and why? Okay. Look at the photo. Orange gray skin that looks like a traffic cone in hospice. 3 lonely hairs clinging onto a bald head for life, and a neck that genuinely looks like a vagina. This is not Photoshop. Trump actually looks like that. This is nature. This is nature running its course. All the money, all the power, all the golf clubs in the world cannot fix that. And his photos without makeup, don't even get me started. Time didn't lie. They just refuse to Photoshop the punishment he's earned. It's all over his face. Meanwhile, and his neck. Meanwhile, he spends his life insisting that other people's photos aren't real while looking like a melting wax figure. The photo isn't the worst of all time, but the subject, that might be. Okay, that's all for now. That was just a practice one, but I'll take it. Defund the police, abolish ICE, pay women, promote women, listen to women, follow women, pet your dog, don't give it a choke collar, Hassan Piker, and Will is the best. Come up here. Can you come up here? I gotta get you a brand deal. And once I hit 100,000 followers on Instagram, I will drop a signal chat with somebody whose last name rhymes with Momo. Yeah. This one I'm just gonna fuck around with.